Welcome to the Lifestyle Herbalist Podcast. I'm Dabney-BS, dental hygienist and clinical herbalist.
And I'm your co-host, Sabrina Cooper, a registered dental hygienist with a culinary nutritionist and herbalist, and a mindfulness and mindful eating coach.
Together, we explore the connection between oral health, nutrition, herbs, and whole body wellness, giving you practical ways to feel your very best. Grab yourself some tea and let's settle in. Hey, welcome back to the Lifestyle Herbalist. I am so glad you're here today. Sometimes inspiration comes from a scientific paper. Sometimes it comes from a patient sitting in my dental chair. And sometimes it comes from a single sentence in a song. I recently heard the lyric, "In your body you will live, in your body you will die." I paused. Wow, that is so profound. And it wasn't depressing. It was true. The body is the only place we will ever live. We celebrate birthdays with it. We laugh, we'll cry. We fall in love, we experience grief. We walk through gardens. We hold our grandchildren. We'll watch sunsets. And then one day, we'll take our final breath. Every one of those moments happens in our same body. That realization changed the way I think about wellness. Not as something we pursue because we're afraid of getting sick, but because this body deserves our care. One thing I want to make very clear, wellness is not a guarantee. I've watched healthy people become ill. I've also watched people make poor choices and live long lives. Life isn't that simple. Genetics matter, environments matter, trauma matters. Sometimes disease happens despite everything we're doing right. But here's what I do know. The body responds to how we care for it. Every meal, every night's sleep, every walk, every breath, every kind thought towards ourselves, these aren't isolated events, they're votes. And they vote for the person we're becoming. As many of you know, I am both a dental hygienist and a clinical herbalist, and food has become one of my favorite conversations. I don't necessarily believe in dieting, actually quite the opposite. Food is information. Every bite sends a message throughout the body. Does this meal stabilize blood sugar? Does it nourish my microbiome? Does it provide minerals? Does it reduce inflammation? Is it supporting my hormones? Our cells are constantly listening. When we consistently choose colorful vegetables, quality proteins, healthy fats, herbs, spices, fermented foods, and mineral-rich foods, we're creating an internal environment that supports healing. It doesn't happen overnight, but over the course of years. And it's those years that add up, and those are the ones that matter. People often think that oral health begins and ends with brushing and flossing or cleaning in between your teeth. However, the mouth is a part of the body. Healthy gums matter. Healthy saliva matters. The oral microbiome matters, and inflammation in the mouth doesn't stay in the mouth. As a hygienist, I've learned that the mouth often whispers long before the body starts to shout. Sometimes inflammation or bleeding is more than just bleeding gums. Sometimes dry mouth tells another story. Sometimes the patterns of disease points toward nutrition or stress, could be mouth breathing, blood sugar, or immune function. The mouth has a story to tell, and we simply have to learn how to listen. Let's talk a little bit about movement. Movement doesn't mean hours in the gym. Sometimes movement is gardening. And I often tell people, especially my patients who are on the verge of retiring, I will ask them, what is your plan next? Because the people that go home and sit on the couch or in their recliner or lay in bed and sleep late, they tend not to last long. They've lost their purpose, they've lost their gumption, and we need to move. But movement can be lots of things. It can be walking the dog, it can be stretching. It can be strength training. It could be a membership to the gym. It could be even dancing in your kitchen. The purpose of movement isn't to see how sore your muscles can be. It's stewardship. Movement reminds our muscles, our bones, our heart, and even our brain that they're still needed. Every step is an investment in future independence. When I think about aging, I don't think about living longer necessarily. I think about being able to carry groceries, walk through Italy, play on the floor with my grandchildren, get up without assistance. That kind of aging begins decades before we ever need it. We live in a culture that celebrates being busy. Our bodies, however, celebrate things like sleep. Sleep is really important because it's where our memories consolidate, our hormones help to get rebalanced, our tissues start to repair, our immune system recalibrates, and our nervous system finally settles. If we are consistently borrowing from our sleep, eventually our body asks us to pay it back with fatigue, irritability, inflammation, or we just get sick. We need to protect our evenings, dim the lights, put away the phone, honor rest as productive. One of the most overlooked aspects of wellness is the conversation happening in our own heads. We speak to ourselves thousands of times a day. Some of us would never dream of talking to a friend the way we talk to ourselves. Our nervous system hears those words. Our body hears those words. Practice gratitude. Practice curiosity. Practice forgiveness. You don't have to ignore difficult emotions. I know, life is like that. But the problem is that sometimes we want to live there. And it's important to remember we need to move away from that spot. Hope changes physiology. So does constant fear. Choose carefully what you're rehearsing. One of the reasons I fell in love with herbal medicine is that herbs remind us that healing isn't always forceful. Sometimes it's gentle. Tulsi teaches resilience during stressful seasons. Lemon balm reminds the nervous system to soften. Oat tops nourish the exhausted. Nettle replenishes. Chamomile comforts both digestion and the mind. Hawthorn quietly supports the heart over time. Herbs don't ask us to rush. They're not busy. They invite consistency, just like wellness itself. So, what's one small choice that can become a lifelong habit? One of my favorite quotes says, "First we make our habits, then our habits make us." Old age isn't created at 75. It's quietly being built today. And the breakfast we chose, the walk we almost skipped, the bedtime we honored, the vegetables we planted, the conversations we had, the gratitude we practiced, and the stress we released. These moments seem insignificant until one day they're not. I don't know what tomorrow holds. None of us do. But I do know this. This body has carried me through every chapter of my life. It deserves kindness. It deserves nourishment. It deserves movement. It deserves sleep and joy. Because in this body I will live. And in this body one day I too will die. Between those two moments, I want to honor it. Hey, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone you love. And this week, ask yourself one simple question. What is one choice I can make today that my future self will thank me for? Until next time, take good care of yourself. And remember that health isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in the ordinary choices we repeat with love.